Hello. So I am recording this video on thesis statements due to the fact that one of you actually told me that there wasn't any sound on the thesis video that I uploaded prior. So I'm re-recording this. So the first place I want us to direct our attention to is here where it says role of intro paragraphs and theses. Let's go ahead and open this and we'll download it. Let's begin here. There it is. Awesome. All right, so to begin with, the introductory paragraph holds a very important position in your essay. This is due to the fact that your intro paragraph is, in effect, your game plan for what you'll do throughout your essay. So we all write for a reason. Every writer has a purpose for writing, whether that is to persuade your audience. If we consider that we look at an opinion piece in the Los Angeles Times, and my project, my purpose is to convince you to switch over to an electric car, let's say, for example. Or maybe if we consider the expository piece on the front page about maybe some natural disaster somewhere. So the genre of expository writing is to expose information, right, and to make us aware of it. So similarly, you as a writer, and I'll include myself, so us as writers, when we're composing an academic paper, we are presenting our game plan to the reader through our intro paragraphs. That's why it's essential that you have this clear in your mind. And at the heart of the intro paragraph is the central argument, and that's called the thesis statement. So you can interchangeably use the word thesis and central argument. So a lawyer in court has a thesis, has a central argument. Let's say that you're a lawyer and you are defending your client who is accused of, say, tax evasion. So then your central argument or thesis statement, in that case, is to prove that your client is innocent of tax evasion. And you do that by way of using deliberate witnesses and exhibits. So in academic writing, we do that by way of using secondary sources, by bringing in the voices of other writers into our essay, just like a lawyer is deliberate with their argument. So the thesis statement, you simply put, it's just a claim or argument about something. And you need to assert your thesis statement. Don't be like, I think that maybe perhaps my client is innocent of tax evasion, but I could be wrong. In the same way, don't be like, I think that maybe perhaps you should switch over to an electric vehicle because they are more beneficial to the environment. I think, but I could be wrong. No, don't hedge. Don't take back what you're going to say. Just state your claim. Just assert your claim. And as is the case with this thesis worksheet that we have. So remember that. Assert your claim. And a thesis statement doesn't always have to be this huge thing, this controversial thing, this epic thing. It's just simply a claim or argument about something. Excuse me. So there's three components to a thesis statement that you're going to have a chance to both dissect and really integrate together into the crafting of your own thesis statements in a worksheet that we're going to do. So the three components are identification, which is the topic, the claim, which is what you're saying about the topic, and the direction, which are the supporting reasons. So here's an example that I crafted for a thesis statement. And remember, it's simply put just a claim or argument about something. So check this out. Jordan sneakers from the 1990s are far superior than current iterations. This is due to a superior use of materials and larger ergonomic comfort. So this word ergonomic simply means ease of use. So if we have a phone that has an ergonomic design, then simply put, it's going to fit in the palm of our hand with great ease. So let me read this again, this hypothetical thesis statement. Jordan sneakers from the 1990s are far superior than current iterations. This is due to superior use of materials and larger ergonomic comfort. Additionally, 90s colorways are more vibrant than contemporary ones. So the identification in this case, the topic, are Jordan sneakers. The claim, what we're saying about the topic, is that the 90s Jordan sneakers are superior than current iterations. So that's our claim. The 90s ones are better than our current one. Okay, that's our claim. That's what we're saying about the topic of Jordan sneakers. And the direction is my reasons. So in this case, is here. This is due to a superior use of materials and larger ergonomic comfort. Additionally, 90s colorways are more vibrant than contemporary ones. Okay, so superior materials, larger ease of use and comfort, and more vibrant colors. Okay, so those are the supporting reasons or direction that I'm giving for this thesis statement. Okay, so that's it for this one. I'll just minimize it. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, okay, so we're also going to download this as we'll do the same for the next one. It's kind of hot, huh, guys? This is a hot summer. All right. Next, this one too. Let's have these both open, actually. Awesome. I'll go ahead and minimize this. Okay. So, we've been talking about intro paragraphs as setting up the game plan for your essay. Okay, it's essentially that. It's like, hey, here's what we're going to do. Here's the signpost that we're going to hit throughout our paper. So the research paper that you will have will be to select an issue and then propose a solution. When we say a solution, simply put, it's something that will help with the issue. So whether that is if the issue is polluted Santa Monica, then your proposal maybe is to increase the fines for littering at Santa Monica, or adding more trash bins, or another one could be if the issue is fossil fuels, like we have in our first intro here, then your solution is switching over to electric vehicles. So I'm giving you that context so you can recognize where these intros come from. These are direct intros that were written by students who submitted this assignment, okay? Students of mine in past classes. So as we're looking at this, try to identify the ID, which is the topic, the claim, what is being said about the topic, and then lastly the direction, which are the supporting reasons for why that claim is being made, okay? So check this out. So what's the topic, what's being said about the topic, and what are the supporting reasons? So this first one says the following. With the dangers of fossil fuel consumption increasing every year, we must be creative in the way we develop solutions to problems. Recent biofuels may be our imaginative approach to this issue and more. In trying times, I suggest that we turn to microscopic algae to provide us with means to vindicating change. Fossil fuels today, or also known as late biofuels, when used, are a substantial source of carbon emissions leading to serious greenhouse effects. Using algae as a source for oil has the potential of being a renewable source of energy and an effective way of reducing our carbon footprint. However, big oil companies looming over the market can make it difficult for researchers to provide their amazing findings to society. So this was this particular student's intro. The other thing that you saw me download was this document entitled Sample Intro Paragraphs, ID, Claim, and Direction. So here I've created charts for these sample paragraphs. I believe there's 4 of them. Yeah, 4 of them. And as such, we're going to practice identifying the ID, claim, and direction. So for the first one, I went out and did, actually I did it for all of these. The reason being so you can get the hang of it. So when it's time for for you guys to do it on the worksheet that is due this Saturday, then it would make a little bit more sense. Okay, so the ID or topic was fossil fuel consumption. The claim, which is what is being said about the topic, is that the student is claiming that by using a form of microscopic algae, that's a good alternative form of fuel. In addition, something that I didn't really add is that they're claiming that fossil fuels are an issue. Yeah, so fossil fuels are an issue, and fossil fuels are an issue, and then using a form of microscopic algae as an alternative form of fuel is a solution that will help to ameliorate this issue and its negative effects. Yeah. So here's the supporting reasons that the student gives to support this. Number one, which is what I mentioned about fossil fuels being an issue, because they emit carbon emissions and they are a finite source. So that word finite means limited as opposed to infinite. When we add the prefix in, it means not, right? It nullifies what that root word is. So it's the complete opposite, in other words. So if finite is limited, then infinite is unlimited. So fossil fuels, which are actually, if you guys didn't know, they're things like oil and petroleum, and there's only so much in our Earth. There's a limited supply, and our vehicles are so dependent on them. Our factories too. So okay, this person's also proposing algae as a solution because it's renewable and would reduce our carbon footprint. So that is crucial because since fossil fuels are finite, by presenting them as renewable, let me actually go ahead and find that. Here it is. A renewable energy source is the complete opposite of an energy source that is finite and limited, right? Because if it's renewable, it can continually, they can make more and more and more of it. Because this is an algae, and then I remember in this paper he was talking about like being able to grow this algae. So it's something that's not necessarily limited. In addition, the reducing our carbon footprint, that's speaking to the impact that we make in terms of either contributing to the greenhouse effect of things like carbon monoxide and burning fossil fuels. It goes into our atmosphere and it's thus trapped, and thus creating this effect of climate change. So we'll do less of that if we use this renewable energy source, this form of algae, as opposed to burning fossil fuels. Okay, so that's the first one. I'm going to look at one more, and you guys can take a look at the rest on your own time. So let's look at the third one. This is another student, okay? So again, pay attention to what's the ID, which is the topic, what's the claim, what's being said about the topic, and the direction, which are the supporting reasons. So here's what it says. Every day there's a service member transitioning from active duty back into the civilian world. But not everyone has a good homecoming or transition. Many of our veterans do not have plans or fall on really bad times and lose everything. Excuse me. Then they become homeless. For the past 10 years and beyond, this country has been at war, and while service members return from the conflict that they were involved in, the population of the homeless veterans is on the rise. What may be the problem is that they went from an organized, structured military lifestyle to that of the more relaxed, go-at-your-own-pace lifestyle of civilians. The people that have fought for our rights to live the way we do are coming back with no home and struggling to find a place to call home. Other reasons why the homeless veterans population is increasing might be due to financial strain, getting involved with some really sketchy situations, and becoming more common is mental health disorders such as PTSD. If we can get our state and local leaders to come out and take a public stand to help the issue of veteran homelessness, then the appropriate resources and partners needed to combat this issue would make a tremendous positive difference. So as you heard that, hopefully you were able to pinpoint the identification, which is the topic, the claim, what's being said about the topic, and the directions, the direction, which are the supporting reasons given. And if we take a look at this chart, we'll see that the ID in this instance was the transition of veterans back into civilian life, right? So those realities are diametrically opposed. They're so opposite and different, right? One moment you're serving, and then the next you're abruptly just thrown back into civilian life. So it's the topic was that transition, right? And just how abrupt it is for many service members. So claim, what's being said? It's precisely that, right? The transition for veterans is often extreme and can lead to homelessness. Here's a solution, what this person is proposing, and that's what they're saying about the topic. They're saying this is the issue, and this is what I'm proposing. The solution is to take a public stand and raise awareness, supporting reasons, some reasons for the veterans ending up homeless. They mention financial strain, sketchy situations, and PTSD. So this is just an example of being able to pinpoint some of this stuff, right? ID, claim, and direction. So now, my friends, it's your turn to put into practice what we've talked about. So let's return to our, let me close the window, give me a moment. It's just that it's very hot outside, and I don't want all the heat to come in. Okay, so let's continue here. So now is your turn. Let's go ahead here and download this where it says Thesis Worksheet. And here's what you're going to do. This is part of the work for this week's module. So here's ID, claim, direction is what we talked about. Go ahead and read this. So the way it works is as follows. You're given a writing prompt, and then it's up to you to pinpoint the ID, which is the topic, and then the claim, it's up to you to determine what you believe and what you want to say about that topic. And then after that, once you decide what you want to say, come up with your direction, which is what are the reasons that you're going to use to support what you're saying about that topic. So I'm going to go over this one, which is the sample one, so you can do the others on your own. And here's what it says. Educators often discuss whether high school sports have a positive influence on students. Some educators think high school sports do have a positive influence because the lessons learned from athletic competition add to the lessons learned in the classroom. Other educators think high school sports do not have a positive influence because the emphasis on sports often overshadows student achievement in other areas. In your opinion, do high school sports have a positive influence on students? So this hypothetical student went ahead and did this. Okay, so the topic is sports offered in high school. The claim of this student was that they have a positive influence for students. And the reasons were as follows. Because playing sports while in school teach social skills, teach time management, and certainly do because of all the practice, right, and all the time that you put into it, and juggling school, and you have to keep your grades up to stay on the team, right? Provide exercise and teach the benefits of hard work. So here's the thesis that this student wrote. Now, when you're going to go ahead and do this, you have to use what you wrote here, okay, in terms of introducing the topic, introducing what you believe, and why you believe it. So the formula is kind of like such and such and such because, and then you're going to use these reasons here. So check out what this student wrote and how they did it. High school sports unquestionably have a positive influence on high school students because they teach social skills, reinforce time management skills, and provide exercise and show the benefits of hard work. So this is huge. Remember I told you to assert your claim, right? That's part of the, let's see if I can find that one. Did I close it? Oh, it's right here. Okay, so with the thesis statement, remember, assert your claim. Don't hedge. Hedging is precisely what I said before. I think, maybe, perhaps, sports are helpful to students, but I could be wrong, but don't take my word. No, stop it. Don't hedge. Just assert your claim. Go out and say it, which is what this student does here in the sample for this worksheet. So here's two prompts. Read them. Go ahead and pinpoint the topic. Determine what you believe about this topic. Okay, the reasons you would use to support that, and then write up the thesis. And use what we talked about use that for help. Okay, you can look at this chart that we made here, and then look at the sample. Okay, for help. Yeah, so for this one, you can either print it out, write it out in pen and scan it, and submit it to the assignment link, or, which is what I would do, just download it on Word, pop, 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 and then just type out your answers, save it, and then submit it. Let me go ahead and show you where the assignment link is for this one, for the thesis worksheet. It's actually the next page here, thesis worksheet. So from your end, you'll see a little tab that says submit, and you're gonna submit that completed, and that's by Saturday by 11:59 p.m. So that's the thesis worksheet. And if you guys have questions about thesis statements or this worksheet, then feel free to just shoot me a message.